Like John.
All right, here we go. All right, I don't know what's going on with our theater setting here.
So your view, where you have speaker view, gallery view.
There we go.
There it is.
There they are live. Okay.
Okay. How cool is that?
It's
different.
new toys.
So, yeah, it's like something I probably shouldn't have access to, right?
No, all hosts have it now. Oh, right. You in particular. Right. Got it.
Yeah, me in particular. Not a good button for letting me push. Oh, that's classic.
My picture isn't showing. Where?
I did this yesterday. I was playing around trying to get some stuff dialed in for the boat, and I noticed this. I'm like, what the heck is immersive? And I'm like, that's interesting. But it's got all kinds of different backgrounds you can put out and different
Oh wow.
views, but it's kind of weird.
It's trying to be metaverse and get us all interactive.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what the deal is with I guess different frames. You can have a different number of people in here.
Oh wow.
Alex, there's a number of people who go in now.
Well, let's see. I'll get one this is more like a stadium.
Okay.
Put everybody in a stadium.
I don't know why I have my video on, but it's not showing the picture.
You probably
Because it can sense, Allie, that you're not smiling today. See, it can sense that. Better than what I was going to say, Allie.
AI isn't creepy. Yeah, that I have no clothes on.
Well, in that case, we'll put you front and center,
Let's get Allie up there.
Speaker view.
Right up front now.
No, but I was playing around. Chris McLean, he does a lot of stuff, with the videos and all that, and he's got all these different cool mixers and all this stuff. And we were talking about like how to do a scenario where I do a live training on the boat and have like 5 or 6 people that are the VIPs that are actually on the boat. And then the rest of them could be tuned in to Zoom on a regular ticket, just not a VIP ticket. And Tim, your name came up from StreamYard. He said, you should get a hold of Tim and talk to him about StreamYard, because with StreamYard, I guess you can have multiple video feeds. Yeah. So we could have a video feed that was like live of, the interior of the boat, what's going on. And then we could have the training up on one screen, and, we could all be on other screens. And so it's pretty cool options. But what this is, if you guys are on Zoom, under the view tab, there's a new thing. It's called immersive. Change to immersive view. And that's basically what we did. It looks like, though, when people join, like when Jim joined originally, he was not in the seat. He was up at the top. So I have to restart it to put everybody in their seats, which, who knows?
Now you're going to have an admin to keep people, you know what I mean? To put people in their place.
Yeah.
Put them in their place. Yeah.
And I probably won't do this all the time, but I thought, hey, what the heck? It's a new toy. Let's play.
Exactly. Have a little fun.
But it does look kind of cool, that we're all in a board, and Roger's over here going, you fucking idiot. This is worthless.
It reminds me of the COVID basketball games where if you had season tickets, they let you send in a photo and they put a cardboard cutout of you on these seats.
Oh, this is way better than that. Come on.
But it is making the background really important, and you're just lucky to be here.
Oh, pretty cool stuff. So anyway, what do you guys want to talk about today?
Well, I got a follow-up from last week, John.
Okay.
The full-featured Zoom, I got it, and I already got my refund,
Oh,
which
cool.
was really interesting. But the owner of Zoom is working live. And that means I can't integrate Acuity or whatever else is scheduling option without their permission. And there's other things that I can't really go in and do anything with the new features that Zoom is offering. How do I get that changed so I'm actually the owner, or is it possible? Do I have to go through working live every time to make these changes?
That I don't know. I wasn't aware of that. I don't know if that's.
I've got Acuity that used to be linked to my Zoom, so anybody that wants an appointment sets it up through Acuity, and then it goes to a Zoom call.
Okay.
Well, I can't do it now because I'm not the owner of my Zoom account.
Because I have that with Google Calendar. When I set up an appointment in my Google Calendar, Zoom is attached to it, so I can select Zoom.
Yeah, there's no problem with the calendar, but this is the actual appointment scheduling.
Okay.
You may not use that, but that's how I get people into a potentially closing environment in a Zoom call.
That's interesting. I was not aware of that. You probably have to reach out to the guys at Working Live and see,
I'll do that.
See what the deal is with that. I was not under the impression that I didn't own the Zoom account because it's under my name and it's got my profile and all that stuff.
Yeah, I got all that other stuff. But if I look into who actually owns it,
okay.
I'm not the owner.
Okay, gotcha.
And therefore, I'm restricted on what I can do.
Gotcha. It might be some, mass bundle license type deal.
So, for example, when you go to do and if this isn't affecting you, maybe this is a simple change for me. But when you do a webinar, Zoom has now set it up so that chat is not open unless you open it. And if I can't open it because I'm not the owner, that becomes an issue. So, and those are the only first two things I've found.
Okay.
But I'll check with them and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a new thing because as far as I know, I have full access because I do webinars all the time with it.
I wonder if it's because, well, whatever. Yeah, it could be that that's a setting they can change for me then.
Yeah, maybe that's something new that they're doing.
Well, it is new. Zoom just did a change, so you might want to check the next time you do a webinar and see if chat's open.
Okay.
Yeah, initially, because according to the software, it's closed initially until you open it.
Okay. Well, I know on the regular meeting, it was automatically opened.
Okay. Well then,
but
hopefully this is an easy change.
Yeah. I bet it's probably something, just some kind of a setting, maybe on their end. I don't know.
Hopefully that'll be good. Thank you.
All right, Roger, you had your hand up. Not hearing you though. You're a good looking mute, but
so I keep with this new headset, I can keep my microphone non-muted, except for the very occasional times when our neighbor with a modified muffler comes in and it's really freaking loud.
That's another reason I do these on Thursday. There's no gardeners, there's no trash trucks.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like to drill in to a couple of the statements just made. So the first, let me go with the quick and easy and then a more hopefully immersive question. The first one is, I'm assuming that webinar is a mode Zoom expects you to use when you are conducting more a sales, probably teaching to sales ratio is going to be, I think, 10 sales webinars for every kind of teaching webinar, because most people that are teaching will just have regular meeting, not webinar mode. And I'm betting chat is seen as a huge distraction potential to your audience. They're not paying attention to you. They're paying attention to the cool chatting that's happening. My question is it locked entirely or to the webinar guests, or is it that they can only chat with the host locked by default?
And Roy, I think that's the question to you.
Okay, because I haven't been able to open it, I can't be absolutely positive. But from what I see about it, it's simply that you don't let anybody chat until you let everybody chat. And therefore, you probably can use chat yourself. I haven't tried that, but no one else can.
Yeah, and come to think of that, I think that is an option. I think that's an option in the back end of your admin of what you can allow and not allow in the webinar specifically, because I like I said, I run webinars all the time, and chat is going on and I don't turn it on. It's just automatic. There's also a thing for the webinar, and back to you, Roger, the difference between the webinar and the meeting is a meeting is meant for everyone to participate. So like this, like we can all see each other, we can all share, what have you. In a webinar, it's not necessarily for sales specifically, but it's made to be a presentation where it's controlled by the presenter and no one else can see each other. There's a lot of stuff that you can turn off and on. Like whether you can see how many people's in the room, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the fundamental difference between the two. But that said, I just ran a webinar recently and I know chat was on and working and I didn't specifically turn it on. And also the Q&A, what I try and do with the chat, because like you said, a lot of times when people are watching something, there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat that's nonsense. They're high-fiving each other and right on, and they're just making comments, which for me doing a webinar, that's going to be a freaking nightmare for me to read through all that crap to find the questions. So in the webinar setting, I tell everybody specifically, I say, if you have a question you would like me to address, please put it in the Q&A. And there's a Q&A box at the bottom. And I tell them, I say, do not put chat, do not respond in there, only put your question. I said, if it's anything other than that, I'm not going to address it. If it's a simple question, I said, and I don't want a paragraph. I want a single question. And so when I go through the Q&A, if I see a single question, I will answer it. And I'm, I do it that way because I cannot be reading stuff and, I'll wind up, the whole thing will look like a shit show if I do it that way.
And John, do you mind if I ask that other question?
Sure.
And I know Richard has his up too. Roy, you said you use Zoom to do sales closes. Could
Right.
you describe what is your system, your funnel, if you will, that gets you to the point where the prospect is now offered an opportunity to Zoom? I assume it's a one-on-one. And then what is your approach to closing in a Zoom?
Well, there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
But basically what gets them there, well, I actually have a couple of different ways of getting them to a room and the different rooms they get to. But the most simple one is all they do is they go to http meetwithroy.net and they're given an opportunity to either have a phone call or a Zoom call. And so I can get into, and I can choose the amount of minutes that call is.
For advice, or do they know it's a sales call? I mean, obviously even advice calls are going to eventually be a sales call, but do they know explicitly it's a sales call, or do they think it's advice in which they expect a sales at the end?
For the basic call, it's just advice. It's just conversation. And maybe I'm explaining to them how they look online and all that other kind of stuff.
And
But
are you doing that in a webinar format or in a meeting format?
I'm doing that in a meeting format, one-on-one.
Okay, good.
And then, but I could have them go to a different URL and have a different call, and then they know they've been prompted that it's basically a sales call. But they're run through a funnel before they get to that.
Do they show up for that one?
Yeah, yeah.
So the question, the key question for me is, they can choose a phone call or a
Yes.
Zoom.
Yes.
Which do you feel is a more successful tool to convert them to a customer?
Oh, without a doubt, Zoom.
Zoom.
I mean, it's nothing close.
Zoom's better than a call, because I've
Way
heard,
better.
really, I've heard people say the exact opposite, that in Zoom, for some reason, it just feels like every other Zoom, but a phone call has an intimacy level that oddly surpasses the video.
I've never had anybody close on a phone call.
Yeah, I was thinking more, Roger, because you've seen their face. That's where I'm getting notified, because I'm having a more it seems like a more intimate phone call because of the fact that I'm able to read facial gestures and stuff like that. You know, I don't know, maybe in some phone calls, like maybe in your industry, Roger, that they want a little bit of privacy is why they're not.
Yeah, yeah, good point.
Yeah, I know with me, I hate the whole phone call thing because I don't know what they're talking about in many cases, and in many cases they don't know what I'm talking about. And when we can do a screen share,
yes, that
just clarifies everything. And the other thing, I like to show them, like the first thing I'll do is I'll pull up SEMrush. If I'm doing any kind of a client consult, whether they've asked for it or not, I'll pull up SEMrush just so I can show them where they are. And that's usually something that is just like mysterious to them. They're like, oh my God, how do you get all this information about me? And, you know, I tell them, so it's open, it's public, you know, you can have access to it. So can your competitors, as well as you can have access to their information. And I'm giving them a little bit of education. I rarely, when I'm doing those calls, anybody can sign up for a free 15-minute consult with me. And a lot of times in my funnels, lead magnets and stuff, that's what I'll prompt them to do. I'll say, if you'd like more information or if you have questions, just sign up for the free 15-minute consult. I'm happy to answer any questions that you've got. During that, I never try and sell them on anything. In fact, I've had a couple of people, specifically females. I don't know that I've ever had this from a male, but specifically from females, it's like they've got their guard up. As soon as they get onto the Zoom, if they show up at all, the first thing is, I don't know what you're going to try and sell me. And the first thing I say is, you know, I'm here to help you. You're asking for help. I don't know what you need. I'm not here to sell you anything. And once I do that, then all of a sudden, okay, the guard goes down and I don't try and sell them on anything. I do not. I will show them stuff. I will educate them with stuff. And ultimately, my goal is to create demand and desire for the things I'm showing them. So they want them and they'll ask me for them, where I'm not trying to sell it to them. They're asking me for it. That has been my style since day one. And it's worked really well. You know, I think last week or the week before it, I talked about, you know, how I do a sales presentation for SEO. I don't go in trying to sell them on SEO. I go in asking them questions. It's like the whole consultative selling thing. The more questions that you ask, and it's going to create, you're going to find out exactly what they need. You're going to find out what they know and what they don't know. And if you can teach them, if you can fill in the blanks with what they don't know and you can educate them, that's what I want. I want educated buyers. I don't want to sell to somebody that doesn't know anything. They're going to be an absolute nightmare for me. So I want an educated buyer. So if I can help in that education process, I feel I'm doing them a service and I'm doing myself a service too. Like,
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Hey, I came in a few minutes late, and I can't tell who's already answered their questions because there's 3 people with hands up. So I wanted to just I've got something that I want to add to it, but I
Okay.
can't tell who's who because hands are up and they're not down. So I think we've got to make sure that they get answered before I bump in.
Success. We finally found a way to confuse Randy. I love it.
Well, I don't remember which order they went up in either. We'll just start.
We had Allie at first, but she put her clothes back on.
All right. Well, let's go to Allie. What was your question, Allie? We're not hearing you.
Okay, so
There we go.
Rich had a meeting and signed in on his Zoom, and I can't figure out how to get off his Zoom and back onto mine. So hence it probably says Rich Varshall or something. And I've tried everything. I know that sounds stupid, but I'm on my computer and I'm on my iPad so that I could turn one off and get it to my Zoom account. Can you help me with this?
I mean, probably the easiest thing is just to close them both out and just log back in the way you want to log in.
Yeah, I did that and it keeps coming up as his. So it's making me.
Well, go to
We
Zoom.
need separate computers.
Go to Zoom. I think is it zoom.us? Go to Zoom. Go to zoom.us, log out and then log back in under your account because you're logged in under his account. So when
It's also possible that she's logged in under her account and he just changed the name so that the display read him
We see
for a
her in
meeting.
2 different places though.
No, it's saying his Zoom account, but that's what I mean. I can't find my account.
And we don't have a problem with that, Ellie. We know who you are, so I
Well,
wouldn't
I know
fret
that,
about
but
that.
I mean, but his is limited. I'm paying for the
Full service.
the Be Live, yeah, and
You need to be logged into the right account, and then you just need to have the right name attached to the account. That's
right, but I
really all there
can't
is.
seem to get it to come back to my account. That's why I'm actually asking because
Yeah, I would venture to say it's because of the computer that you're on. You're logged into Zoom into the wrong account. So when you click to come on, you're coming on to whichever account that is logged in on Zoom itself. There's no way for you to sign into a meeting on another account that you're not logged into. And you can only be logged into one account on one device. So I would venture to say that's probably the thing.
Yeah, Ollie, you have to look to see if you've got 2 accounts. You can see by email which one you're logged into, and the one with Be Connected will always show licensed, and your personal one will not show licensed.
right, like so. I just did what John said, which is go to the Zoom, and it's definitely logged into Rich's, but
So
I don't know how to get back to mine. I've never had this happen before.
You have to log out on that Zoom account and then close out of this meeting, log into your account on Zoom, and then come back into the meeting. That's really all there is to it. So
Okay,
Richard, what do you have for us, Richard?
Well, I was sort of curious about all this Zoom stuff, why this was such an issue today. It's kind of weird. I've never found a Q&A thing on Zoom, first off. So where is the Q&A? Because it's not in any of the little menus at the bottom of the screen.
Q&A is when you're doing a webinar. When you're doing a webinar, Q&A is a feature of the webinar that you can toggle it on and off.
Not from my side. because I've been on there's one call I'm on a weekly basis, and he says, you have questions, ask in the Q&A. And I've never found a place for Q&A. The chat's still there. It's disabled. And other than that, it just says chat. And that's it.
Typically there's a Q&A box. It's usually next to where the screen share button is. And that is also, it's every different account. In fact, every webinar account that you have has its own settings. So the person that you were in their webinar, they might have not had it turned on, and they might be saying, hey, put it in the Q&A, and they just don't even know.
Well, they are answering a lot of Q&A questions, so someone's got it on.
Then they're probably just looking at the chat. They don't know the difference.
Okay, well, the chat doesn't work. Anyway,
that would be my
I've heard a lot of people say don't do Zoom because not everybody is techie. Just get on a phone call with them. And I'm getting a lot of contrary feedback in these last few moments about the fact that people don't apparently like, on this group anyway, don't like phone calls. So I'm puzzled.
Anytime you hear somebody say don't do something, it's generally an uneducated statement.
Yeah. Like Richard, if your clients like you on the phone, then you go on the phone. You know, if my clients want to meet me in person, I'm driving to Starbucks to meet them in person. If they're going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to do what it takes to make them easy for them. Simple, easy. Make it simple and easy for them to become a customer. Yeah.
Well, the point is that what I'm trying to set up for me as well as my clients is an automation so that me and my clients, the first thing that they have to do with the client is get on a phone call because it's been scheduled. And I'm not going to waste a lot of time trying to do cold calling or running around or going to Starbucks. Plus being in my 70s, and all the variants of COVID running around, I'm just not willing to go out and be in public places. So it's got to be either a phone call or a Zoom. And the people have made an argument that Zoom is too complex for people. Maybe the people I'm dealing with, if Zoom is too complex, maybe they're not a good client.
That's very possible. You know, and it's like Tim said, it goes right to act. You have to interact with people on the grounds that they're used to. Like if your audience was 70 years old and above, I would not try and force them onto Zoom, right? They don't know how to do that. They're not going to be comfortable with that. They're not going to feel safe and nurtured in that environment. You have to stick with what they're used to. Now, none of my audiences really, you know, I'm not going after consumer audiences that are in that boat. The people in this world that are 70, like yourself, that's not an issue. You know, I'm sure you would rather have a Zoom call where we could see each other and show screens and actually get some stuff done. So you really have to, you know, you've got to use ACT and use common sense on what you're doing and what's right for you. And don't listen to people that throw out blanket statements about this doesn't work or that doesn't work. You know, blanket statements are not right. Now, if they said, Richard, because of this doesn't work for you, that's a different thing. But somebody that throws out a blanket statement like SEO doesn't work,
oh yeah,
that's just an idiot. That's just an idiot.
I totally agree, John. I totally agree, John. Anyway, the meat that I wanted to get to was what you sent me the email about. And when you're ready to do that, I'd be really great to do that if everybody else would benefit from it.
Okay, well, let me hit Jim first and then Randy, and then we'll get on to that one. So Jim, you got the floor.
Excellent. I am super excited about the new features in Marketing Assistant. I'm totally cool with setting up Google and Bing, but when it comes to Google My Business and YouTube, there's fields that I don't know exactly how to fill out. Like with Google My Business, I'm having a really hard time getting the distinct URL for my business listings or my client's business listings. So that's one. The second one is on Google My Business. What do you put in the contact field? Because normally with a domain, you put, peakbusinesscoaching.com/contact.
Yep.
And then the same thing with YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I can find the URL, but I don't know what to put in the contact field.
Okay, so on the YouTube one specifically, I don't think there's a contact field, is there?
There is.
Okay,
I tried to set it up.
I'm gonna have to ask Chris about that one because I don't think there should be on that one. But
Right.
on the GMB, on the Google My Business, that's a new one. And I wasn't sure what to put in that when I set mine up either. So I had to get some clarity on it. So the deal is it asks you for the GMB listing name. That's the part that's important. So you go to your GMB listing and you copy the name of the listing. So like in my case, it's Internet Dominators. That's the name of my GMB account.
Okay.
So you copy that out. That has to be specific. And then in the website address, you're putting the website that GMB is connected to, which is your domain. And then for the contact page, it's the same thing. It's your contact page on your domain. So
Can
it's
I share my screen real quick? And
sure. So it's not the GMB page. You're putting in your domain website.
okay, so I'll go to so there's my listing.
Yes.
And I have this URL, but how do I get to?
Doesn't have anything to do with that URL. It's just the business name, the Peak Business Coaching. So I would copy that just as it is, all caps on the Peak.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Okay, so that's the name.
Yeah, so that's your name. And then click on the website button.
That just goes to my website.
So that's the URL that you want to put in.
And then I put in the contact.
Correct. Yep.
But that sounds exactly like what I did for Google.
It is. The only difference is you're putting in the GMB name.
Okay.
Because what it's doing when it finds the GMB, it's clicking through, it's going into the maps. And then ultimately it's going to bounce through the website link, go back to your website, and then close the browser session out after it hits the contact page.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't really want people, I want my Google My Business listing to be ranked well, but I really want them to go to my website.
Yeah, exactly.
Contact rate.
And
Okay.
the deal is they are interconnected. So when your website goes up in authority and rank, it pushes your GMB site up as well, and vice versa. So that's going to be your case there. Now with this one, you want the actual page that the video is playing on.
This one here, the homepage.
Yeah.
So this URL.
So that URL looks like your channel. It's not your channel address you're doing. It's the actual video. So if you click on the video, it'll give you the video URL.
Oh, I thought it was for the channel because that's what I want people to go to.
It's for this is for a specific video that you're trying to push up. So if you click on the video itself, that's going to give you your URL for that particular video. And that's what you put in.
So I could just, where the heck is it? Copy link, get this link here. For the intro video.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I would actually click on the video and take it out of the URL box though, because that might be different. That might.
Yeah, I know how to do that.
Yeah, that's what you want to put in there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
And then the contact, just put the.
I'm going to ask Chris about that one because I don't think it should have a contact page on the YouTube.
Okay.
And it's.
Do you want me to log into my Market Assistant or SitePop account real quick and look?
Yeah, you could look. I don't think it's supposed to have a contact though on the YouTube.
Okay, let me check real quick.
And while you're doing that, we'll hit Randy and then we'll come back to you.
Okay,
Can you not hit me and hurt me though?
I'll hit you soft.
So I came in late, but I wanted to share a couple things because I mean I'm still in the embryonic phases of this, but one of the things that I've learned and I'm subscribing to, number one, is Zoom. When you say blanket statements, I'm kind of on the same level of thinking, because every time I hear somebody make a blanket statement, I tune them out. And here's why. The only reason I tune them out is because of the experience with everyone saying, I'm zoomed out, I'm zoomed out, I'm zoomed out over this last 2 years. And in my opinion, if people can do business on Zoom and it's a good place to do business, then being zoomed out just is in conflict with that.
Yeah.
And so I ignore blanket statements like that. The second thing is I agree with what Tim had to say in terms of doing whatever you need to do to get to your customer or to serve your customer or get and sit down with your customer, as in a discovery call or whatever. Because what it sounds like to me, if you're 70 years old, and I'm not picking on you, but if you're 70 years old and you got that in your mindset that you don't want to go after the client wherever they are, then you're going to limit yourself, and that's okay if that's what you want to do. The other thing is, when it seems like when we talk on Zoom and share versus phone calls, that people, it depends on your comfort level, because a lot of people are comfortable sitting down face to face. I know I do much better closing clients, if you want to use that term, after they've sat down or during the Zoom call, when we've had a chance to really get to know one another, and I'm not even trying to call or trying to close. What I'm trying to do is really discover what their wants and needs are, and then I may make some suggestions or do some education short term immediately and say, hey, think about that, and let's perhaps, if you want, we could schedule another Zoom and come back together. So I just think that the whole thing about Zoom being zoomed out and all that is a bunch of hogwash if your mission is to grow clients. And with the webinars, I think that, for me at least, zoning in on just webinars, which is what I've been doing to grow the following, to get out there, to build my membership site, to have a place to put videos, to do other things with that one product, for me, is the way to go. And I think there's multiple uses there. And I think a lot of people are not taking that, to the nth level. So my thing is, I'm going to spend as much time as possible becoming a master, or much more masterful, in delivering webinars as a lead generator, as a community builder, as getting information out, educating, bringing guests in, and validating that we have something to offer of value, so that when they think about me, they connect me with other people as well. So that's all I have to say about that. But I just want to get that out there, that I think if you try to do 5 areas at one time and be an expert at any one, I think you're wasting your time, me personally. But I'm slow, so webinars is it for me, and seems like they're working for me. I just got a email, and from that email this morning, I suggested we go to my link, get on the calendar. The lady did the calendar immediately, and then I sent her a link to set up a Zoom discovery. I call it coffee and conversation. It's non-threatening, and we sit down, we do a Zoom, we have coffee and conversation, and see what and how I can help her. So that's kind of where it goes with me, and I just want to share that. And that's a long way of getting around all those subjects that I heard about today.
Yeah, I don't know where the 70 came up. I'm sorry I even put it in the thing. It was not.
Jim,
Well, I think you said you were 70 years old and you didn't want to chase business or something like that. I don't know.
Oh no, I'm older, but I'm young at heart. What can I say? I have no problem with Zoom, and I prefer Zoom, but I was cautioned that Zoom might be too techy for some people. But maybe after COVID and everything else, if they're not up to speed on Zoom, maybe that's a good filter I should put in place.
Well, I was going to say the same thing. Maybe that's not a very good target audience if they can't. Zoom is I'm the non-techiest person on the call today, and if I can operate Zoom well and do webinars and all that, maybe that's not the target market. I'm just saying.
Well, John knows what my target market can and can't do better than I do, so I'll let him be the final vote on that.
So Jim, what'd you find?
In the marketing assistant or site pop software, if you go to YouTube and set up a new project, there isn't a place for a contact. So you were right.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so it is literally, it's just the YouTube video URL.
Yeah, just one video, not the channel.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So back to the idea of who you want to attract, because we're talking about that. If you want to attract techie people and you don't want non-techie people, one of the biggest and best things that you can do for yourself is pre-qualify. And that might be a great way for you to pre-qualify. If somebody is scared to get on Zoom and they don't want to get on Zoom and you need them to be on Zoom because that's the way you want to communicate, that's a great pre-qualification for you to eliminate your non-ideal prospects. Because the faster you can get to the ones you really want, the better your business is going to be, the more money you're going to make, and the happier you're going to be. And I think we all know that the happier we are, the healthier we're going to stay. Because if you're getting torn apart and you're under high stress and you just grit your teeth when you think about starting the day, that is going to take a toll on your health. And freedom without health is kind of not going to work very good for you. You need to self-preservation it should be your top priority in life. And don't let people eat you alive, because they will. I see so many people that are under so much stress and they're coming down with all these diseases. They're dying. It's not a good thing. So it's not healthy for your business, and it's not healthy for you either. So the fact that you get up every morning and you look forward to going through the day should be a top priority for you. You don't want to work with people that make you miserable. So, seriously, just don't do it. It's like stay off drugs. Don't do it. Fire people that make you miserable. I cannot tell you, and I get that some of you are just starting out. I get that you have more of a feeling of you got to take on everybody. I don't want to call that desperate, but it's a desperate type of feeling. And you just want to take anybody you can get your hands on. And sometimes you got to do that to get started. Sometimes, you got to break some eggs. But when you get to a point where you've got yourself up on your feet and you're stable enough that you can start getting picky and choosy about who you work with, that is going to give you such an empowered feeling you're not going to believe it. When I have had this conversation too, and sometimes you being in that position will make them become better clients for you. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody that is just, they're miserable, they're making me miserable. And this was before we even had Zoom. So we're talking about telephone days. I'm on a call with somebody and I've just had enough. And I will just flat stop them in their tracks. And I'll say, hey, just hold on. I got something to say here. Because usually they won't let you get a word in edgewise. So first I've got to stop them. Sometimes you got to be a little rude in the process to do it. But I will stop them and I'll say, after careful consideration, I just don't really think that I am the best person for you. I don't think I am doing you a service. And I think it's time for me to gracefully bow out of this relationship, or whatever you want to call it. And I got to tell you, in 9 out of 10 times, they start getting really nice, really fast, really apologetic, and basically begging to not break this this relationship, or, you know, business, whatever you want to call it. And I'm very specific with them at that point in time, say, you know, I know you're saying this, but I really truly feel this isn't good for either one of us. And I say, you know, and if I do decide to continue this, I'm telling you right now, if it ever goes back to this, that will be the end, and there won't be any need to converse about it. And, you know, the first time I did that, I really felt like a dick in the process. But when it was over and I hung up, I was on top of the world. And it happened more frequently until they were just all gone. And again, you know, you might not be able to do that coming out of the gate. You might need people that are, you know, whatever, to get you through that hump, to get you up and running. But I'm telling you right now, there's nothing on earth going to make you feel more powerful than when you get to that point and you can do that. It's, you don't want a lot of customers. You know, you want, unless you can completely automate it, and you can get, if you can have something like what I do here, and you can have, you know, 1,000 customers, it wouldn't matter if I had 1,000 people or 5. This is the same amount of work for me. You know, it's the same amount of time commitment. I don't even call it work because I like doing it. So I don't see this as work. I see this as a great piece of my week when we do these calls. So it's not like it's work for me. But that said, it doesn't matter if there was 2 of you on the call or 2,000. It's the same time commitment. It's just, I'm going to make a lot more the more people are in here. So that's the kind of scenario. If you're looking for a really good business opportunity, that's what you want to look for. Look for that opportunity. That they refer to as scalability. How can you scale a business? If you're scaling a business based on your time, you can't scale a business. If you're just trying to scale a business based on the amount of money that you have to pour in and you don't have enough, that's not a scalable business. So, you know, it's something to think about when you're looking at business opportunity. Like, I go back in time to, you know, back to my earlier days when I was a photographer. I was a commercial photographer. I made a lot of money doing that because I did stuff that no one else knew how to do. And I was in high demand, and, you know, all of that. Life was great, but I was in a bubble, and I couldn't see out of. I didn't know there was greener pastures on the outside of that bubble. Looking back, if I knew what I know now, I would never have done that. I thought it was a great life at the time, and it was. I made a lot of money. I lived well, you know, really seriously, no complaints. I'd be a fool to complain about that part of my life. But knowing what I know now, it's like night and day. I would never take on another business opportunity like that. Right? Does that make sense? It's like, what I look for now is I look for scalable. I look for stuff that I'm going to make money, you know, forever, doing minimal amounts of effort and maximum output, maximum profit. So lifetime value customers, and a lot of the lifetime value that I provide, it's not my services. It's affiliate offers. It's stuff where it's minimal effort on my part. You know, once I provide whatever I provide for them in the beginning, and I acquire a lifetime customer, all I have to do is figure out, I look at their timeline. What do they need next? I don't have to create that product. I just have to find it for them. Yeah, I use the example of the woman with the maternity dresses all the time. And it's because it's such a perfect model of that. You know what that person is going to need for the next 18 years. And that's an understatement. You know what that person's going to need for the rest of their life. You know, that kid's probably not going to move out when he's 18. It's going to go on a lot longer than 18 years. But it's like the perfect storm. It's like, how much would you pay to acquire a customer that was going to get you paid for 18 years? You know, if you sold them $100 thing on the front end and it cost you $200 in advertising to make that sale, you know, you could look at that as, oh, I'd lose $100. Or you could look at that as, I just made a 20-year investment that's going to pay me $10,000 for every 200 I put in. That's the two ways that you could look at that. Which one is right? They're both right. Depends on your strategy and your implementation of which one's going to be a reality. Roger, you look like you're just dying to say something. I know. Okay.
No, it's good.
I didn't want to interrupt you there if you had something, but it's like, seriously, you know, and this is definitely a part of like where I am in life, to be able to see this and say this. But if I had it all to do over again, I would do things very differently. I would do stuff the way I'm doing it now, because I cannot see a better way. Definitely. So
I just read something interesting here.
you did.
You ever notice when geese are flying in a V formation that one side's always longer than the other?
I have noticed that.
Yeah. That's because there's more geese on that side.
Boom.
Gotcha, John.
Oh, you did. That was good. That was awesome. I was going to say, I noticed that with pelicans too. It's funny, on the boat, we see the pelicans coming through, and we call it the Mexican Air Force, because they're coming up from Mexico, and it's like a squadron of dive bombers, and they're hunting, they're at war. And these guys, I mean, they're just so graceful. They cruise like inches off the water. And then all of a sudden they'll just plunge in and pluck off a fish. And it's awesome to watch.
Just the other one is, John, you notice when you're on the boat, all right, some guys wear those dark sunglasses. You know the real reason why they wear the dark sunglasses?
Dying to hear this one.
To keep the sun out of their eyes.
No, there you go. We're gonna have to pay Tim for comedial relief here.
Tim needs it to get through his day nowadays.
Oh, I just thought I was getting too serious for you guys.
No, just yeah. Well, everybody, here's what I learned is, when you were talking earlier about listening to your audience, I mean, what your audience wants. I did, I had this 10-minute speech at Craig's, and I was like, I don't want to do it. I hate doing my trainings because I really don't think I get anything out of it and stuff like that. So I did, I took that funny thing I did on how to wash a cat, and I turned it into the most awesome blog post you'll ever read online. And I told the whole funny cat story. And then I explained from the story how it was a good blog post and good content. And everybody who has talked to me since Craig's event, that was the best thing I've ever seen taught. And I'm like, I was just trying to fill a 10-minute slot by throwing jokes in and teaching from it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Back to the webinar thing. We were on a webinar deal there, and Randy was talking about, I don't know if he's still on or not. Looks like he popped off. But Randy was talking about, there, I think I see his head bobbing around in there.
Yeah, no, I'm listening in.
Okay, so you were talking about, webinars, you're focusing on webinars. I got to tell you, I get a really big chunk of my audience or my new customers out of doing webinars. It's a fantastic way to go, but you can get a much higher conversion ratio. There's ways. I've done webinars, 6 ways to Sunday, and there's a particular order and fashion that you do a webinar in, turning every webinar that you do into an evergreen sequence. And it has made me 10 times more doing that. And I'll share with you guys what I'm talking about, what that means. So we're in my Kartra account here, and you'll see this is a webinar sequence. It's actually going on right now. This is one that went on last week. This is one that went on the week before. Notice there's 3 pages to it. So the first page is basically the webinar sales page. It doesn't originally have the replay video on because it's a live webinar. It's an actual live webinar. So if you strip this stuff here off, the page basically starts with special beta pricing offer that we introduce on the webinar. And it gives them their 2 pricing options, shows them the normal price and the beta pricing, and the fact that there's a bonus here, they get to lock that price in for life. We have 2 options. They can have the regular, the pro version, which is for aggressive businesses. And then we have the agency version for professionals. So that's the offer. It's a 2-fold offer. It's the same product. It's just how big a bucket do they want? This one has 10 projects. This one has 50, and you can resell these to people. So that's the first one. Immediately after the webinar is done, I have the promoter send out the replay. So what we do is we just attach the video up here and put watch the replay. So he sends out his promo video or his promo email back to the whole audience for everybody that signed up to see this thing, because 90% won't show up. I don't care how you do it, how you promote it, 90% will not show up live. We had on this particular webinar, we had like 71 people showed up live, which was pretty good. And when we had the replay sent out, there was 800 people showed up for the replay. So if you just did the live and you didn't do the replay, you would have lost 800 people. You would have just had the 71. So depending on your conversion ratio, you'd be converting off of 71 instead of 800. So I would really urge you to record these and have your promoter, whoever it is, send out the promotional email to, hey, I'm sorry you guys didn't hit the live webinar. It was awesome. You can't believe what you missed. Here's the link to it. You leave a lot of mystery behind it, so they actually go and watch it. They hit this page, and then down below, notice, so special pricing ends midnight Tuesday. So that was 2 days ago. That special pricing ended. So if they come after the fact, Kartra is now going to forward them to a different page. So what we do there, so that's the second one. So this is the webinar. Then it goes to price extension. So this page here, we say the webinar offer extended. And I have the promoter send out another email saying it has been just an overwhelming response to this webinar. So we decided to give you guys an extra day for anybody that hasn't had a chance to see it yet. So we're extending it for 1 day.
Hey, John, is that just one webinar or a series of webinars like your
This is one webinar. This is a sales presentation is what this is.
Okay.
So when you extend it, what we're also doing is we're offering a 3rd service now, basic now available. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to pick up the ones that it was too expensive for. So we offer a $47 one now. And in the email that goes out, it says, by the way, if price was an issue, we're now offering a basic model, for beginners, and I always have them say in their email, because a lot of you requested it. So they don't feel cheap. They don't feel like they're alone. So if this is the guy, if I'm the guy that like, God, I can't afford $97 a month, but I could do 47, you could squeeze 47 out of them. Now I'm picking up a whole bunch more sales here for 2 reasons. Because we extended it for the ones that, for whatever reason, didn't get in on time. And we're offering the lower version of it. And this runs for 24 hours. So this has a timer on it. And this one says ends Thursday midnight, 14 hours. So that's actually tonight. If you go to this live page, like if we go, I'll show you. Let's go to the first one. So the first one, if we get the page here, see that this guy's name is Abi. And this was done in Abu Dhabi. Imagine that. Okay, so we go to this page and it's going to forward you. You'll never see this page again. It's going to immediately forward you to the ends Thursday at midnight. So this has about 12 hours to go. And there's the video, there's the 3 options. And at midnight, it's going to actually forward you at that point. Let me close this out. And it's going to go to regular pricing. So that, you know, they're still going to get to lock in this price. This is still a beta price for them, but they have now missed out. And it is amazing how many people will buy it at this price because we told them it was going to happen and we made it happen. Here's what will happen if you don't do this. They're going to say, oh shit, you know, I missed it. Let me go check it anyway. And if you've still got the special price, they know you're a liar. And they're not going to buy your shit. Your sales will end right there in 99% of the time. By doing this, I'll either have one of 2 things happen. They'll go, oh shit, you know, they'll hang their head. They'll go, this is a good deal anyway, and I'll just buy it. We make a lot of sales at this price level. The other thing that will happen is they'll send me a private email and they'll give me a sad story that they were on vacation or their mom was sick or their dog ate the paper or whatever. And they'll beg me for the special price and I'll give them a backdoor link to go get it. And now I'm a hero again. That's how I do my webinars.
But let me ask you a question. Are you saying you do this on fee-based webinars or free and then turn them into paid?
These are all free webinars out to other people's audiences. Like this one is for, his name is Abi. He is a guy he's in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, wherever. He's got a massive audience of YouTube people. So we basically did this webinar specific to YouTube, how to rank this. You'll notice in the video here, it says the YouTube ranking game. So it's my SEO software we originally formulated for Google, but we then turned it into YouTube as well. So it's the same product. I'm selling it to a YouTube audience, and one of the bonuses they get is not only do you get to use this on YouTube, you can also use it on Google, Bing, Amazon, and Google My Business. So they get this massive package. They came in for YouTube. Remember, they're focused on YouTube. So we get them there with what they're focused on. But then ultimately we give them a lot more. That's the Frank Kern stacking the cool. We stack the shit out of the cool with this offer. And this is the sequence. You'll see I did another one for Patrick last week. You know, that's his sequence. It looks very similar, doesn't it? It's because this works. You know, here's one from the week before, another YouTube to a different audience. You know, you'll see I have a whole ton of these things going back. I've got like 3 years of this is the same webinar being sold for the same shit. You know, but I've got it down now where I used to do 5. I did a series of 5. Now I've got it a series of 3. That's all it takes. And this webinar could be turned evergreen. All you have to do is reset your timers to be dynamic instead of static. When I do this for a live audience, I will set static timers and I tell them, I go, okay, this offer ends Thursday at midnight. This one ends Friday at midnight. And it's a static, it's a real offer. You do not want to build, you want to build trust, not distrust. When you don't do what you say, they know it. It's like dogs can smell fear. Your people can smell bullshit. So do what you say and they will respect you. They'll buy from you. They want to do business with you. If I was going to do this for an evergreen after the fact, what I would do is I would just change the timer and I would change it to be dynamic from whenever they clicked on the page, they've got 48 hours. And the timer goes from that 48 hours forward. And then it goes from, on the next one, you got 24 hours for this deal. And then you can literally pipe someone into that webinar anytime you want.
So John, right now, I haven't done any paid webinars. I've been doing free webinars. But what happens oftentimes, like you said, someone sends you an email, hey, I can't make it. This training class came up and I've been waiting for it, or I got to do this. So they're asking for, because it's free, I guess, they're asking for, is it recorded? Is there a replay?
Yes.
What would be your answer if you're delivering free webinars and then you start getting people asking that?
I say it's absolutely recorded. I say, yes, yes, yes. We are recording it because we understand not everybody can make our time slot. We get it. I'm not going to penalize you for that. I am going to record this so you have access, but here's the deal. You have 48 hours. If you can't make it within 48 hours, hey, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Come back after 48 hours. You can still buy it. It just won't be the action taker bonus. You give them options.
All right.
But be totally honest in everything that you do. I mean, if you're not, the first time somebody smells your, any level of dishonesty, you're done. I mean,
So
seriously.
John, how do you address if you do an evergreen and you're using a dynamic timer, do you just say, hey, this is available anytime? How do you establish that trust level with an evergreen? Because everybody else tries to pretend it's going to be, a genuinely expiring clock. This webinar is available in 15 minutes. No, it's available right now.
No, I never do that. I always put it out there as whatever it is. Like if it's a replay, if it's truly a set static clock, we play it that way. If it's going out to like if Abby wants to follow this up in, let's say a month from now, he wants to send another email out. I'll just reset the timers to, to static and say, or let's say he wants to put it on his website, even better. He'll say, hey, can I offer this to my audience and, off of my website? I'm like, absolutely. So we'll go back, we'll set the timers for, to be dynamic. So when somebody goes onto his website, it will just say, hey, we have a live recorded webinar, not live, a recorded webinar from a previous session we did. We're extending the offer out for a limited time. That's how we do it. So when they click it, they will see the limited time. They have another 48 hours to get it.
John, can I ask one other quick question?
Well, let me give you one really good thing here first, because if you position yourself to be taken advantage of, and I know a lot of you have heard me say this before, try to position yourself to be taken advantage of, because if people feel like they can take advantage of you, they will buy from you. It's a phenomenon I cannot explain. So
but they have to trust you and yet take advantage of you.
Exactly. It makes them feel good to be able to take advantage of you. And again, I it's a phenomenon I cannot explain. But I'm telling you, it is absolutely 100% true.
I guess I'm lost because I think I heard you say it before, but I'm lost now when it comes to the webinar. I don't know what you mean.
Before we answer that, could I ask this quick question?
Sure.
It's related. I promise. You mentioned you had 71 live viewers and then you had 800 people view the replays.
Yeah.
Isn't that in, frankly, direct contradiction of what we see all the time? You record these sessions. Craig records his mastermind Zooms and sometimes his conferences, and then he'll lament months later, like, out of weeks and weeks of great guests and recordings and important stuff, maybe 4 people downloaded or viewed it, and it has a total of 14 views ever. In other words, the non-live ones are not supposed to get views, and you're saying they're getting tons.
This is a different scenario. This is like an event that's promoted by a promoter. So prior to the live event, prior to the webinar, the event promoter is sending out 2, 3, 4 emails the week prior, telling them, hey, I'm going to have this guest on. He's going to be talking about this. You're going to learn this. It's going to do this for you. You're not going to want to miss this. He's going to be on this day, and he's going to make a special offer. You're not going to want to miss this. So they sign up. They sign up for it. And who knows how many will sign up for it, but you'll get a percentage of those that actually show up live. As soon as it's done and you got the replay up, then the promoter sends another email out to the audience saying, hey, for those of you that made it, congratulations. But for those of you that didn't, you really missed out. You missed the boat on this deal. And he hits a couple of key points, that's stuff that they're going to want. And he sends that email out, 2 or 3 times, trying to get them there before the timer expires.
Okay, I think that's an important factor.
Yes, and he'll literally say in the email that he is extending this offer until Thursday at midnight. So you guys got 2 days. Make sure you carve out an hour to take advantage of this.
Okay, I yield to Randy in an explanation.
Yeah, so that's part of the process of the promotion. And, if it was an evergreen deal, later on, here's the part where they take advantage of you. So it's a 48-hour deal, right? They missed it. It's at full price. If they somehow figure out that they can restart that counter by using an incognito browser, they now will feel like they've taken advantage of you. So that's one way to allow them to feel like they've taken advantage of you. Here's another way that they could feel like they've taken advantage of you. And I've got this on my site right now. I've got Black Friday specials. I've still got my cyber specials up there. That special was, the ability to get ACT without paying for it. If somebody finds that link, they could get ACT without the upfront fee, without paying for the program. They just get in, for the $29.97 a month and bypass paying for the program. So when people find that, it's funny, they don't say anything. They just buy it. And I will particularly send them to that page, and I'll tell them, like, if I'm on one of those consult calls, and I tell them about ACT, and I say, probably the best thing I could recommend if you want to buy something. Remember, I never try and sell them anything. At the end of the call, I say, you would probably get the most benefit out of the ACT program. We have it discounted to $497 if you go through my website. They go through the website, they discover the page that's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be dead. And they are able to buy it without paying the $497. I've had so many people do that, and they never mention it. They never say a word. They feel like they took advantage of me. I couldn't give a crap about the $497. I just want the people in at the $29.97 that I can help. So if you can position yourself to be taken advantage of, do it. You'll acquire a shitload of customers that way. I wish I could figure out how to scale that process. So, okay, back to Randy. Did you have something you want to?
If you want to scale it, Johnny, do it on every single product that you have. Let people find a link.
Oh, I do. I've got them seeded everywhere.
No, I'm actually good, John. I'm in learning mode. I just keep learning from you. That's all.
Okay, cool.
So John, you're skipping the 495 just to go for the monthly get on the calls fee?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I know I would rather, like, I can look at it as advertising. I could spend $500 to acquire a customer, or I could do it that way and give them a better deal.
But it's going to take you 2 years to get the 490 to make the 497 back.
No, it won't. If that's all I do, you're right. But that's not all I do. They're going to come into the fold. They're going to be introduced to all kinds of things that they're going to need along the way. And they're going to be a lifetime customer. If that was my only game and it was just the $29 a month, then I would have a different approach. I'd have a different attitude. I'd have a different feeling about that. But it allows me to help a lot more people, give a lot more generously, acquire a lot more customers, and ultimately make a lot more money in the long run. And again, if I were doing this from day one, I probably wouldn't be in a position where I could do that. The position I'm in now, I can do that, and I like to. So hopefully that makes sense. And I know we've gone. I was planning on getting into your program and going through that, but I don't have enough time to give you what I really want to give you at this point, because I have a 1:30 hard thing I have to go to. But we can either do it next week if you want to share it with the group, or I can just set up with you sometime between now and then, and we can do it one-on-one, whatever you prefer.
Well, based on what you just said, a 15-minute call isn't going to do it. So you're willing to schedule a call long enough to go all the way through it? I'm willing to do it at the end of your day, whatever will work for you. But I am in the process of, as I told you, going to send over my website to you to start building on it as soon as I get confirmation that I'm setting it up for long-term success based on what the feedback is on the information that we want to discuss.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let me find a time slot for you. We'll do it. We'll record it. And then
Yay!
If you're good with sharing it, and if anybody wants to see it, then we can just share it with them.
Oh, hey, the whole thing is, like you said, let's just make it wide open. This is a free-for-all forum here. These are all insiders here. I'm good with all of it.
Okay, cool. That sounds like a winner, because I think it'll benefit everybody, really, whether they're in the business of selling, web services or not. It's the same thing. There's a unique thread that runs through all of this, and it's the same in all industries. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that, but it really doesn't matter what you're selling. There is a unique thread to the way people purchase things, and the lifetime value and all of it. It's all the same. The only difference is, getting into the heads of who it is that you're selling to. That's the big thing. And in making the proper adjustments, that's really where the magic lies. And that's where you need to pay attention. So.
Sounds great, John. Let me know. Like I said, I'm in a very uncomfortable pause here till we get this, and because I'm doing pedal to the metal as soon as we get this wrapped.
Okay, I might want to do it like Saturday if that works.
This Saturday would work if it's later in the day, or I guess first thing in the morning.
Okay, I can do later in the day. I don't get up too early though.
Nor do I.
All right. Well, let's we'll make that work.
Super, John. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you everybody for coming. You know, these continue to just be awesome. You know, the good ground to cover. So,
John, I have a quick question. Do we have Crypto Club today?
no, we we changed it to, I think it was the second Thursday of each month, second or third, something like that.
Oh, we're not doing it 2 times a month?
No, we changed it to once a month on, and I don't remember offhand if it was the second or the third Thursday. I think it was the second.
Okay.
But I'll look it up and I'll put it in the Discord group for everybody. But you'll always get an email notification prior to it.
I know I missed last week and I was here working and I wanted to ask you, is it a good time to buy yet? Because I'm just waiting.
Yeah, you know, this last week, everything shot up. It looked like, holy crap, we're back, you know, we're back. And then today it's all fallen back. So yeah, today would be a great time to buy, in my opinion.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Because I was like, oh my God.
But it's still all way down. I mean, when it actually goes back into a bull market, it's going to run up for months. So it's like we're still at the bottom of the tank. You know, you're never going to hit the rock bottom. You know, you're never going to be able to figure that. But we are low enough in the tank right now that I would say anything you do at this point is going to be, you're on solid ground.
Okay, and so it's XRP, XLM, and what your other top 5?
Yeah, they're let's look in the Discord group. I have them in the right order too.
Okay, thanks, John.
So, all right, guys, have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody. Good to see y'all.